Welcome to Marketing People Love. My name is Jacques Spitzer, and if you have ever wondered, how do people win awards, and how do they end up in big publications, and how come I'm not getting that attention and recognition that I deserve? Well, then today's episode is for you, because I am bringing on a world-class expert, Carrie Jones, and she is a world-class expert in everything attention, whether it be earned media, affiliate, or organic social or influencer networking. She does it all with her team, and they are incredible what they do. She's going to talk about what it takes to not only get started, but to see true success. What does a program look like, and what can you expect from it? And we're going to dive into a little bit of how the landscape has changed as we look at 2024 and 2025. And finally, she's going to unpack some of those opportunities that you might not be thinking about when it comes to your program as it comes to earned media or affiliate attention. Carrie, welcome to Marketing People Love.
Thanks for having me, Jacques. I'm excited to be here with you.
So, I know I already said it in the intro, but there is no one that I trust in the entire world, more than you and your mind when it comes to understanding how to take brands, everything from products, services, destinations. You really have a gift for understanding what people need to be doing now to win, and winning looks different for everyone, and what they need to do in the future. And so I want to tee you up with this first question, which is, when brands are looking at, maybe they have a little bit of FOMO, maybe the feeling is FOMO, where they're like, some of my competitors are getting the news hits and the press hits. They're getting the influencers. They're getting the attention that I should be getting, but they don't have a plan in place. Maybe they have a budget, maybe they don't. Maybe they have a team in place, maybe they don't. What do you have to say to them if they're like, I want to win in 2024, 2025 and beyond? What do you have to say to a brand who's feeling that sense of FOMO right now, but not really sure what to do with it?
What to do, yeah. Well, thanks for the nice intro, first of all. And, you and I have something in common. We both like to win. So I think if a company is looking to kind of like put together the marketing mix, that's going to get them to that place where they're in step with their competitor and not chasing them, right? I think it's really important to kind of zoom out with any marketing plan, right? And kind of understand what the objective is. Okay, you want to be where your competitors are, but why? And do you want to be in the same places that they're in, or is it more that you just want to be a part of the conversation? And so, when putting together kind of a strategy for our clients, we always want to look at, are we setting the narrative, or are we letting the narrative be set for us? And then there's a lot of, avenues you can take. You can go the paid route. You can do the PR route. I think no matter what, you've got to do a couple of things. You want to set your objectives so that you're measuring to something, because otherwise anyone in the room might be able to say whether something's successful or not. So it's really important to get alignment there. And then I think setting your priorities, making sure that you are spending enough dollars to put behind your marketing. If you haven't been doing it, you need to start. And so it's going to hurt at first, but pretty quickly you're going to start to see the return on that. And, when it comes to seeing people with influencers and that FOMO factor, it's real, right? It's real as consumers. It's real as a brand. We're all watching what our competitors are doing and wanting to make sure that we're in step with them. But it can't happen overnight, right? And so I think the other part of the kind of recipe for success is commitment. Commitment to a strategy, commitment to a plan. It doesn't mean that you're going to set it and then forget it for 12 months. But I think you need to be intentional with that. You're ready to go the mile and invest the dollars, invest the time, whether that be internal resources or external with an agency like what we do. And I think it starts there. You have to have that intentionality. You have to have the passion for growth and commitment to it, beyond just the next 3 months.
Yeah, I think something that you've always provided, even in my own life, is that wisdom of knowing what's worth chasing, right? Because there's so many things that could have the impact you're looking for, or the things that feel more, maybe, I don't want to call them vanity metrics, but just things that may not necessarily move the needle. And I will say, it's because of getting to know you we've known each other, I don't know, 7-8 years now. Obviously we are business partners, know each other on many levels. But I think when I think about, something that you've really taught me, it's when you're looking to create momentum, that momentum happens in a lot of places, and people are we're social creatures. We always have been. Nothing's changed about that. So we're looking at outside cues to say, well, what's worth paying attention to? What do people trust? And I always think about a gazelle grazing in a field, and we're all looking to each other for these signals. And so the role of obviously having a brand and a brand message that stands out, yes, but also having these outside influences. I know today we're going to be, even though you touch so many things, we're going to be primarily focusing on things like earned media and influencers and affiliate type of work, because I've noticed that there's so much that comes out, but the things that people tend to notice are, like we'll say on the Raindrop side and myself personally, they notice the awards, they notice the press, they see and notice the work, but really it's these like individual moments of time. It happens on LinkedIn, it happens on Facebook, it happens on Instagram. It's not just about landing the spot or landing the award, it's also expressing it and having people see it and appreciate it. And then they start to, as we started winning Emmy Awards, as we started winning, it's like, it became part of the narrative. Well, Jacques, my friend who has a 4-time Emmy Award winning agency, like they start to fill in the gaps themselves.
Sure.
And so I guess it's like when you're talking to somebody who has an understanding of the power of it, what are some of those things that you kind of teed up the first one, but what are those questions that you're asking where people go, we got to do this. And in fact, we might need to go bigger than I originally intend or was originally thinking. Give me a couple, like maybe one example even of where someone came to you, they had that conversation, and then all of a sudden you all realize there's more opportunity than they even realize.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, there's a few examples I can think of over the years. And really, I would say that the quality of that CMO or head of marketing that really sticks out to me is somebody who is looking for a partner to lead them that they can trust. I think trust, and that is earned, of course, but it means that, hey, I trust you to be an expert in your field. You have these Emmys, you have these accolades that fill in the blanks, right? For maybe what they know or don't know about you yet. And so I would say that, like, if you're going to go the mile with a partner and agency, go all the way, right? And what that can look like is to what you're describing. It might be, okay, we're going to start with a program. We think we need this. And then we start to peel back the onion and all the layers. And it's like, oh no, you not only need to do that, but here's all these other opportunities that are in front of you. And so part of our job is to be able to kind of like zoom out and see the big picture, to put together a thoughtful plan, right? So you're not just throwing things at the wall and hoping they stick. We can see, I think this is one of like the superpowers we have, is like being able to see the path, the whole journey, right? And how we're going to take you along the way and how one might build upon another. There was a client of ours for many, many years, Jazzercise, and been around for decades, right? And so when we first started working with them, they were going into their 50th year. It's kind of, for a lot of brands, can be scary because it's like, are you the old thing? Are you done? Are you in the past? And some of the brand was very much in the past. They had not been covered by mainstream media. They were really lacking from that kind of consideration set amongst their peers and their competitors. And really it was this, okay, we want to do something around this book launch. Well, that book launch turned into an entire almost like repositioning within media and within the public's eye of, that's not for me. That was what my mom did when I was a kid, to, oh, I actually want to try that, to, oh, now there's an at-home product. And our PR journey with them really took them from this book launch project into a multi-year relationship. And the reason it happened was the client could see that momentum we were helped build for them. And they were able to leverage the publicity, the influencer kind of content that they were getting into their social, into their paid. And it just snowballed and became this, 7-8 year relationship. And really, they became part of the conversation again. They were relevant. They were part of the narrative. They were not only part of it, they were then leading it again. And so that, to me, it could be many other brand examples, but I think that's like the fun part. That's the win on our side of partnering with a brand, is really like just taking them from not only just a challenger brand again, but really putting them at the top of their class. And so that came with trust. That came with us sometimes pushing. It comes with being honest about what's newsworthy and what's not. What's actually going to get an influencer to want to engage and be authentic with that engagement, right? And working with the brand. And so I think sometimes you have to be a little critical so that you can find the sweet spot where you can really go full throttle and kind of full speed ahead. But, when you talked about, I
was going to say that illustration is so perfect, because I think what I've noticed watching you do what you all do best is it's like a snowball that you push down a hill, and it's like, okay, it doesn't start as this massive snowball. I mean, it could if you got a $30 to $50 million budget, but in most cases you're like, let's just get something out there and going that directionally makes sense. And then something hits you start pulling in a thread that becomes more opportunities. And I think that's what I see so much in this, is that my dad always says that positive activity leads to positive activity. And there's something about putting yourself out there by knocking on the door of influencers, of different media where they're even aware of you. Maybe they don't say yes now, but it develops a relationship and it develops a reason to have like, oh, well, I can pull you into this. And before I know, I'm seeing this person on national television, which I saw multiple times with Jazzercise, unrelated to the book launch at all. And it's like, but it didn't, it didn't start there. And I think so many times people, from my perspective, and I did this myself, it's like, oh, if I want to headline speaking events one day, that's great. Like, you need to start in a room full of 10 people and be okay with that, because in a year or two, you might be headlining. And
that's right.
Every little opportunity, you make the most of it, you extrapolate from it, and you build, you build, you build. And you all do that in so many ways over and over again. I actually want to ask you, that evolves. Everything evolves. Marketing evolves. Communication evolves. Something that you and I have talked about offline, and I want to bring up here, is the earned media landscape has changed so much. There's a podcast by Derek Thompson. He was talking about some of the layoffs at Sports Illustrated and others.
Yeah.
What are you seeing shifting in the market, and in terms of how people are covering things? And my add-on to that is, what opportunities are those creating, or are you guys identifying and taking advantage of?
Yeah, so that's a great point, and it's a hot topic. We talk about it a lot at Maroon Gold. And so we've got a couple of things almost like building upon themselves. So there's a few points I want to hit on. So the most recent kind of what people have probably been seeing in the headlines, the podcast you're talking about, are the layoffs, reductions. It's happening, obviously, a lot of the corporate kind of giants within the tech space, but it's happening within media. And so, when you have reductions, when you have full magazines being folded into another under a larger parent company, it's very challenging from a PR perspective or earned media perspective. You may be in talks about a story. I mean, sometimes with stories, we always say PR is a marathon, not a sprint. So sometimes we're working on a story placement for 1.5 to 2 years before it comes to fruition. And so you have to imagine, if that reporter's now gone, that story might be gone with it. So we've always incorporated freelancers. They're a huge part of our programs because the upside is that they're typically writing for 5 or 6 or 7 publications that might be a fit for a client. The challenge with that is the kind of lead time to actually seeing the placement is a lot longer. They've got to also pitch and secure interest from their editors or managing editors at the publication or the outlet. And so, number one, I would say it's taking longer. Number two, freelancers are more important than ever. And so really nurturing relationships. It's a crowded space for media. It's a crowded space for consumers. So we all have limited attention spans. And so I think the more we can package up the story, do the work for them to the best we can, really make it newsworthy. And that's where I would say, again, you want a team that can recognize what's actually newsworthy and what's not. There's a lot of people, and I would always laugh, like they either wanted a caricature in the New York Times or they wanted to be on Oprah. And it's like, yeah, okay. Yes, and, right? Let's find our path to that. That might take us
You don't want to
like
be
5
on
or 6
Oprah,
years.
Carrie.
Yeah, everyone does.
Yeah.
I do. I get it. I have got a client on. But, I think so, it's about freelance relationships. It is about cutting back at outlets and online and people folding in and having some patience, really knowing that you have someone working those relationships. The other really critical part is if you're selling anything online, an experience, a product, anything, affiliate. Outlets will not even talk to you if you're not an affiliate. And so that's also a huge part of the programs that we build for our clients. It's these multifaceted. If it's an experience, a destination, like a hotel, or, Breeders' Cup, which is a global event, that comes to our market, and we typically will lead their PR. You've got to be able to, identify ways to work with the affiliate, online kind of e-com editors, in addition to that storytelling, being included in roundups, being included in feature stories. So it definitely all builds together. And I think where I love we're seeing so much of this right now, and it makes just my heart happy, is we have clients who are utilizing us for PR, and then influencer can be another part of that. Affiliate will be part of the PR story, and then we're doing organic social, and you start to see it all build because it's feeding one another. Yep. And the build and awareness, the conversion of interest or sales or whatever the metric is that the client is using across the board right now. We have probably 5 or 6 different programs going on where they're seeing record numbers. Q4 was amazing. Q1 is starting off strong. And, when you have an economy that's still a little shaky, it's very, very powerful to see. So I think it is about no one silver bullet. I think it's you need multiple.
Yeah, I love the word program, because I'm happy to say that I'm in some of the best shape of my 30s currently. And it's not, it's not one thing. It's like, yes, I'm
Right.
working out. Yes, I'm eating better. Yes, I'm drinking less. It's all the things that get you the ultimate result that you're looking for. Also wanted to just take a moment to celebrate my health and well-being. Carrie, I know you're looking
Yeah.
also
Get it.
vibrant and healthy. And so, but the idea of a program really is important. And if you can unpack for me a little bit the affiliate, because I think when people think affiliates, many things come to mind. I think
Mm.
ultimately, before I got to know affiliates in this like earned media space, I actually
Yeah.
knew it more as like I have a email list and I'm going to refer a couple different brands and I get paid based on like the clicks and the links. The
Sure.
affiliate was its own person, not an entity like a Rolling Stone
Right.
magazine or a CNN or something. So help unpack how affiliate works when it
Yeah.
comes to higher level media.
No, and that's a really good clarification because there's affiliate even within, like influencer marketing and
Correct.
obviously all that.
Yep.
So when we talk about it within the earned media space, it's not advertorial. You're not paying for placements. It means that you as a brand are set up in a way that media entity, just like an affiliate marketer, an individual, would get a percentage of sales. So with the Today Show, if we're working with them and they're going to include our client in a roundup, they have their own link that they're using, right, that is tapped into our affiliate. And there's a couple different platforms that you can use to do this, but it's essentially commission, right? The media outlets, it's the way that they're making their dollars now. And so every roundup you're seeing of products, the best of list, the Valentine's Day, the Mother's Day, the Father's Day, the Christmas stocking stuffers, right? They're all commissionable links. And so that's really what's critical. As a brand, it's not going to cost you a whole lot to be on the platforms. That's a nominal cost. But you still need somebody pitching. And I think that's like where it comes together and the magic happens is you still have to be appealing to whatever the editor is looking to cover. You still want to insert your client. And so that's what we do. So that's where like kind of the relationship comes in with the PR storytelling and then the affiliate part, which we can help manage with our clients. And then it's nice. I mean, PR is difficult. I would say sometimes it's very top of funnel. And so it's been a little harder to sometimes measure. Influencers sometimes can be top of funnel too, but
Yeah.
this actually gives a lot of metrics. So for
Yeah.
some brands that have to have those, like what is my exact ROI? That's probably a path and a journey that will be more comfortable for them.
Yeah. And something that you just said that was leading into my sort of final question here is this concept of, I've felt it with our clients. I've felt it with myself. I felt it as a personal brand, like getting, whether it be speaking opportunities, whether it be just the opportunities we get in general. I mentioned earlier, awards, press placement. This isn't an analogy I'm going to use that I think about all the time. Sometimes I think to myself, it's weird that no one's ever knocked on my door and asked me if they can buy my house. No one's ever just knocked on my door and said, hey, I'd like your home. Can I buy it? But if I put my home on the market and say, hey, I'm on the market, you can buy this home, I'll probably sell my house.
Yeah.
And for some reason, when it comes to awards, product roundups, being included in affiliate stuff, speaking opportunities, press opportunities, I think a lot of us act like someone's just going to come knocking on our door and offer us this opportunity. And it's like, that's not how it actually works.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work that goes into getting in front of people, winning awards, doing those things. And that to me was so eye-opening because I think that so many of us think if I just work hard, people will notice and they'll cover me.
Man. Yeah.
And I'm like, no, there's actually a full program behind this.
Totally.
And a lot of times a very savvy CMO or CCO or CEO values that. I mean, even on a smaller brand level, I'm watching like Dude Wipes, for example, just had him on the podcast.
Yeah.
He was 2 podcasts ago. And I just found out that he won Liquid Death's eBay competition to be the ad on the side of the box. I'm like, yeah, the guy just shelled out $355,000 to do that, and he valued that and is willing to do that. And who knows what that will lead to or what kind of leverage it will give him for other conversations in the future. It's a long way of saying certain people seem to either have the instincts or have the instinct to find the right partner. And I feel like when I see you do your best work, it's people that have the instinct to find the right partner and say, hey, if I would have already done it, I would have already done it.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's get to work and get people knocking on my door. I'd love for you to react to that. Like, where does that aha start to come on for people that they're like, oh, this is how the game works? Because I feel like that's what our listeners, like, maybe they don't know how the
Yeah.
game, maybe they don't realize that, like, you aren't just going to be showing up in roundups because your product's great.
Totally. I mean, that's so hard, right? Because I think it depends on where people are in their journey, whether it be
Yep.
as a brand, whether it be as a CMO, a CEO, head of revenue. And so I think, regardless of where you are in the journey, like most journeys, you have to acknowledge what you know, what you don't know. And so you're right. No one's going to come knocking at your door to like feature you on the cover of a magazine. That is such a rarity. And so, you were talking about that, starting almost like I might have to start talking with a room full of 10 people to 20, then gets me the main stage. And I remember our friends at Dr. Squatch many moons ago and doing some PR with them. And it was like, well, let's start in the market that you launched from.
Yeah.
Viore is another one. I remember way back, they had just opened their flagship store in Encinitas. And it was like, well, let's get some of that coverage going. And so sometimes you just have to start somewhere. And I think that's like a lot of things in life for us, right? It's like, just get going and that momentum will start to build. And so I think, again, going back to kind of where we started, I would identify what are the real opportunities that you think you have as a brand. Where is it that you think you fit within the landscape, whether it be, are you going for business coverage? Is it more lifestyle coverage? What are your competitors doing? I think like we're in a time where all we have to do is go on social to see, and our competitors are going to show us everything they're doing because it's happening so fast. There is no tool that's going to capture it for you. It's moving too quickly. And so that's where, as an industry, that's one of the biggest challenges I think my teams have is, how do we stay on the pulse? How do we know what's coming, what's going, right? What's no longer in existence, and be making those recommendations and putting things into play for clients. And so I think the recommendation would be just start, right? And ideally find the right partner. And I think a lot of that's going to come down to synergy and culture fit. I think you want someone who understands your industry, but they don't have to be, it doesn't have to be an all soap company. I don't have to be all hotels. It doesn't have to be all restaurants. You want someone who just understands. I always say at Marian Gold, we know how to storytell. We know how to connect with consumers. So therefore, we can work with a lot of different brands. It doesn't have to be any one. And I think actually that's why brands like us. We're not all one thing, because what happens is you start to get a lot of the same thing, a lot of the same approach. So we kind of take the best practices across many industries and we'll apply it in social and apply it in content creation and influencer. And so yeah, I think, we can all read everything that's available online, right? There's a plethora, but find that partner, be hungry, commit to it. It's not going to happen overnight. And so it is kind of, you want that snowball, you've got to really lean into it and collect it all first before you can even make the snowball. And so I think that's where the magic starts to happen, and be creative, and be authentic. I think that always comes back to it. You're selling a brand or an experience. It has to be true to whatever it is that you're pushing from a PR lens or social or influencer. It's got to be true. It's got to be a great product, great experience. That's where I see a lot of clients succeed. And the ones that fail is because they want to be like a lookalike and they really don't have any substance to kind of get them going. The press are not going to cover you more than one time if you don't have anything else to say beyond, look at me too. It's just not, it's not going to get you where you need to be, right? And a partner can help you kind of discover some of that.
That's an interesting reflection, because I think I've been using a lot of metaphors, but that's how I help to make sense of things. But it really, the word that stuck out to me from this was program. Honestly, I think that I watch the impact that Marian Gold has with everyone they work with. And when it works best is when you're not only creating the opportunities, but capturing the opportunities and multiplying the opportunities. And a lot of that does look like taking a win and figuring out how to best tell that story again and again through social media organically. Because, the analogy I have in my head is, I watch a lot of people spend all the time picking lemons and they don't actually juice the lemon to make lemon. They're just constantly picking the next lemon. And
totally,
if you're not making the most of every opportunity, you can do more with half the opportunities if you have the right program in place, rather than having some great flash in the pan that gets you all excited and then it's on to the next. And it becomes part of the fabric of your communications plan, is that, hey, we value the fact that turning heads, meaning giving people a reason to look at us, to learn about us, that has value. And when you think about the brands that you love most, it's something that they've become world-class in, but they didn't start,
right.
And I think that we all have to start somewhere. And I really took that away from that final answer. That was super helpful.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I think you said it with fitness. It's program, and it's about as busy as all of our lives are, brands are all competing for time and money, something we're all very limited in, right? Depending on where we are, there's still limits. There's always a ceiling. And so how do you capture the awareness of your target audience? And then how do you maintain that? And I think that's really like the magic and the challenge, because again, I think it's about staying relevant. I mean, I've had a client for 20 years and we're actually up for this like big national award for them for our campaign. And it's like, we're up against these one-off moments, and ours was just another summer campaign, a summer like we've done for 20 years. But it's about finding partners that are going to innovate with you, that are going to find the diamonds, that are going to keep coming at you fresh year after year. That's a partnership. That's like where the magic is. It's beautiful when you can do that with a brand.
Oh man, I just got like full body chills. I'm, that is the truth of it. Is it's not just about having people and partnerships where they can come up with great ideas in month 1 or month 3 or month 6 or even month 12.
Anybody can come month 1.
How do you innovate on year 10? Like when you have that type of partnership, when you can win awards for your work at year 10, that's when you know. That's when you know you've moved the needle.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
All right, we'll end it there. Carrie, thank you. This is great.
Thank you.